this video, I'm going to look at a Rotel DVD CD player. It's an RDV 1040, and I don't know what's wrong with it, so let's check it out and see. I have it hooked up to my big plasma monitor here, so we can try this thing out and see what it does. So the first thing I'm going to do is, it turns on, has a picture, Rotel. Oh, okay. No disc. Okay, well, let's just see what happens if I push the open close button over here. Well, that part works, so at least I know the disc tray opens. Let me go and grab something to play on it. Since I'm so paranoid of getting copyright strike, I tend to get them for the most mundane things like 5 freaking seconds of background sound, or 8 seconds, or whatever the hell the limit is. Then I gotta go through and, you know, by the time what happens is YouTube will come along and they say, oh, you got a copyright. You got a copyright against something. There's an element of sound, and they'll say, oh, between 1 minute and 12 seconds and 1 minute and 18 seconds, there's copyright music heard. So, okay, fine. I click on the remove music. And the thing churns away for an hour and a half, 2 hours, and it comes along and says, sorry, we were unable to remove the music. In the meantime, I've had 900 views, which is not earning me a penny, and I have to delete the video and go back and edit it and trim 3 seconds out so that it falls under the 8-second guideline. So what the hell? I'm using sound effects this time. Let's see if it'll play this disc. It says reading. We'll try the CD first, and then I'll try a DVD of some of my own material, so I don't have to worry about getting hammered. But looks like it's reading, but it doesn't seem to be doing anything. So maybe there's a problem. No disc. Houston, we have a problem. Let me take the top off this thing and see why it says no disc. Top cover out of the way. Quite neat looking inside here. Separate power supply board and a shield over it. Keep your fingers away from the high voltage. We have the signal processing board over here, and we have the drive assembly separate. Actually quite well laid out and easy. Looks like to be fairly easy to work on. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to inspect to make sure that the actual laser is actually doing anything, whether it's actually even moving or trying to read the disc. Okay, I give it a bit of a spin there, and away it went. Is it reading anything? It says it's reading. Oh. I heard a ticking sound there. Still not doing anything. So that obviously didn't read, because when I hit the open button, it didn't even try to stop the disc from spinning before it unchucked it. So we're not reading a signal off of this unit. So we may have an optical pickup problem on this. I'm just examining this optical block to see if I can even see the lens. It's got this big cover over top of it here, which makes seeing the lens a little difficult. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the laser out to the end so that I can just try swabbing off the top of the lens here. Make sure that we don't have dirt on it. Looks to be pretty clean though. I didn't see any dust building up on top of it like you would expect if it was dirty. It's not even trying to read. It's not even trying to spin. It says reading, but nothing's happening. I'll try a DVD in the unit because these units typically have a dual wavelength laser. They have one wavelength infrared for CDs and CDRs, and they have another red laser for DVD. So let's try an actual DVD in it. Here's something also that's going to be coming up on a future video project. Meet my remote cameraman. This is my Sony remote pan tilt unit. I've had this thing forever. I used to use this as a remote when I was stuck doing weddings where they would not permit a camera operator at the front of the church, and that would come into play in the early days of video. It became accepted later on, but in early days of video they did not want anybody up at the front of the church. So I had this little device that I could pan and tilt my camera, and I could sit over on the side. I had a monitor, and I had another remote for my power zoom because the lens had a separate attachment. So I had another monitor that I had another remote that I could start, stop, and zoom the camera with, and I had this. I used to have a little black and white TV that I plugged in, and I could go sit over in the corner, you know, and sit there with my little TV, and I could actually zoom, pan, and tilt the camera remotely. I haven't used this thing in forever, and I just dug it out of a box, and as you can see, it works. It still pans. It's not tilting. I'm going to have to fix that, so that'll be a future project when I fix that. And once I get that thing fixed up, maybe I can then attach the camera like rail up high, right? And then I don't have to have a tripod in the way, and I can actually just sit here and zoom the camera and pan and tilt it remotely. Anyway, I thought you guys might like to see that. Let's say I'm putting a DVD in this thing to see if it'll play a disc. Okay, got a DVD loaded in this time. I don't see any changes, do you? Oh, it's making some noise. Okay, I see the laser coming on. I can see the red laser coming on this time. But it's not focusing. Or, well, no, we know the motor works because it did spin. This is going to be a laser problem on this unit, unfortunately. It's not focusing. It's not going into focus lock. If it doesn't do a focus lock, it won't start the motor. We know the motor works though because it did spin initially, right? The first time I loaded this, the thing did spin. So we know that it can spin. It says it's reading. I have a feeling it's going to be an optical pickup on this thing. I'm just looking to see if there's any test points where I can actually scope to see whether I'm getting anything, any attempt to lock. Okay, so what I'm going to try and do on this thing is I've just removed the screws here for the disc housing. I'm going to pull the disc tray out. I don't see it attempting to focus, so we may have a bad optical pickup or we may have a bad connection. So we remove this here. Before we remove anything, we have to make sure that we set the shorting switch to short over here. This protects the laser. And I'm just going to disconnect the ribbon connector here and just try reseating this thing. And then reattach it. Make sure that I get both sides in. I don't think I'm in there all the way. Just try that one more time. Just make sure that it's seated. Okay. Try that. And I can flip the switch back from the shorted to the open position. What that does is it puts a dead short on the two laser diodes here. If I were to undo this connector, I would want to make sure that I shorted the little short blocks right down here, which I know it's hard to see with the reflection of the light, but there are 2 little shorting blocks there. If you want to remove this, what that switch on the back here does is it essentially shorts those together. Okay, you got to do that before you do any work on these optical pickups because they are very static sensitive. And failure to do that, and you can immediately pop the diode. So I'll set that back in there, we'll turn on the power, and we'll see whether we've made any progress. Open. Close. Oh, well, that's a good sign. It spins up. It's playing. So what was our problem? Obviously that connector wasn't seated properly because that is all that I did. Was I flipped that little shorting. It could have been the shorting switch too, but I doubt it because there's 2 separate lasers on this unit. There's 2 separate lasers on this unit. One for a CD and one for DVD. So for both of them to fail at the same time was very, very unlikely. I think probably what happened is one of the connections for the focus or tracking coil that passes through that multi-connector lost its connection and it wasn't able to focus, or one of the signal readouts from the laser that provides a signal back to the servo lost its connection, because as you can see it plays. Fixed. This is another piece that belongs to the guy that owns that Techniques tuner, and he also owned the leak. This was another piece that he wanted fixed, so I'm making a very happy customer. Let's we'll try the I don't want to let this thing play for more than a few seconds because I really don't want to end up with any trouble, if you know what I mean. And you know how YouTube likes to, they like to find reasons to hit you for copyright. But anyway, let's try this thing with the 101 sound effects. We'll see how the 101 sound effects works. Make sure it can read an audio CD as well. I think I can turn the sound up on this one. Play. That's a roller coaster. I should use some of these sound effects in my videos. Did you guess what that is? How about this? There's a good one if you want your own rain sound, a little bit of thunder. Thumbs up, it's fixed. Okay, that's enough of this madness. This thing works. Let's get it back together and send it on its way with another successful repair here.